Hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. Felicia Nelson Davis, and I'm here to talk about um, dealing with severe crippling back pain. Um, if you ever had back pain, whether it was thrown upon you from a car wreck or from birth, um, or just from an accident on the job or whatever, it can be excruciatingly painful, and sometimes it never heals correctly. You have to look for many venues to find relief, and most of the time, you don't get a lot of relief. Um, Mine started with my youth. I think I was about maybe 9 or 10 when my back started bothering me. And my mom started to notice as I wanted to play sports, she started to notice, I walked a little crooked. Um, and as young as I was, I shouldn't be having, back pain the way I was. So she had me diagnosed, and turned out I had scoliosis. So I had to wear a back brace for, a couple of months at a time. I think altogether maybe a couple of years I wore that brace. Um, they kept changing as the product got better. They changed the model of it. I think I even had one where I could take a shower in, and it was just really uncomfortable. And I really didn't get much relief from it. And I'm 51 now. I'll be 52 in April. And the scoliosis never got corrected. It never went away. So just to say, um, it's really hard trying to find venues, trying to find relief. Um, a lot of the time, if you're dealing with back pain, any type of back pain, if you get pinched nerves, that's another problem on top of that you have to deal with, because then it's signaling channels to other parts of your body to start, hurting, and that's not good either. So you've got to instead of dealing with just your back area, now you have to try to deal with maybe some neck pain or shoulder pain or leg pain or foot pain, and everything really channels from your spinal cord, and that's your central nervous system. And honey, if you ever interrupt it, it sometimes never gets better. All you can do is try to use the band-aids that some of our gracious and intellectual doctors have put together for us to use. I am mostly doing this video because I am at my last wit's end as far as trying to get relief from my back pain. Like I said, I'm 51, I'll be 52 this year. And what I have talked to God with, and what I've had talked to my husband with, and what I have decided to do, this is the very last time I'm going to try to do anything to, I know I'm not able to fix all the problems with my back, and I'll go into details with that in a few minutes as far as what's going on with it. Um, but I decided this is it. I mean, over my lifetime, in between children, which I have four, in between childbirth and 18 other different surgeries on my body's really tired, and it hasn't really healed from each surgery, because the back pain's always been an issue behind whatever else I'm trying to fix. So I've never really been able to heal, to get enough rest, to, do all the physical therapy. Sometimes I start it and I'm not able to finish it, or I've got to change it up. Um, there's always been some type of obstacle, but one thing I never do, I've never let my pain define my life, and I've always tried to wear a smile. And no matter what I had to do, I worked as long as I could outside the home. I took care of my children. Nobody's ever had my kids. I've always had them with me. I took care of them, and um, whatever illnesses they had, I did what a mother was supposed to do, and I put myself on the bottom and put my children on the top, and I raised my family. I took care of my husband. I was with for 30 years before he passed of cancer in 2010. My first husband, and he was the father of all four of my children as well. And um, sometimes he would just look at me and he's just say, "I'm so in awe of you. How do you do it?" I mean, my pain never shuts down. I never get 5 minutes to just breathe and say, "I'm having a glorious day." Even though my inside, my soul, I try to keep happy. I try to keep my spirit filled with joy. And I try to keep the people, my circumference, everybody around me and attached to me positive, because that's what I need in order to feed off of that and not really let this crippling pain have me in a corner somewhere in a fetal position, balled up and just crying all day, because that could easily be done. But I refuse to do that. It's not in my nature. So um, I just decided that no more band-aids. I'm not going to do any more band-aids. I've done 30 years of band-aids. I'm talking, I went from scoliosis to having pinched nerves in my back. And then it started bothering my right hip, generating down to my right leg. So, as I said before, and then other things too in the backgrounds, I'm dealing with the high blood pressure situation where I didn't even start taking medicine for that until I was like 25, I think. But that's also something that I wanted to mention, because a lot of times if you're trying to get a treatment for something, and if you have genetics that are all against you, then a lot of times you've got to deal with so much just to get one thing done, to channel back to that one thing. And it's really, really hard. It really is, to try to focus on, okay, this is the problem I started with, but it seems like something is always getting, added on, added on, added on. And so I went from, like I said, I went from scoliosis to uh, pinched nerves to fibromyalgia to arthritis to, in between each child, I just keep getting a cracked disc, a cracked disc, a cracked disc. Now I have four cracked discs in my back, my lower lumbar. And I've been in four car wrecks. None of them were my fault, thank God, but still they were not good, and they affected my body forever. Um, and so now I have shoulder pain. I have bursitis in my left shoulder. My neck's out of line. They can't, the chiropractor tried to do what they could to line it back up, but after all those chiropractor appointments, that didn't work either. I've been to all types of pain management to try to do steroid shots to my back. Um, I'm talking, this is 10, 15, 20 years of treatment, you guys. And if you can relate, please leave a message underneath this video, because I know I'm not the only one that's been going through this. And for so long, you get drained and you get tired of all of the pain, and not sleeping and not getting results from whatever you're using. And forget over the counter. Don't buy anything over the counter, not even the strongest Tylenol. Even Tylenol 3, which the doctor has to prescribe, is enough. Um, and you really don't want to get caught up on the opioids. Don't let me get started on that, with the Percocets and all the opioid pills and all the different pain medicines out there now. If you ever have taken them and they want you to take one or two, and you have the cripple of pain the way that I have, if they tell you to take one, you end up taking two, because you're just in so much pain. And sometimes you can't wait 8 to 12 hours. Sometimes you barely can wait the 6 hours to take it. So then some days, if you don't want to run out of the meds, If your insurance doesn't cover it, God bless you if you don't have insurance, because it's real expensive to buy that med, any of those meds. But my insurance does cover most. I pay co-pays, of course, but still, um, I sometimes I don't even want the doctor, and I tell them, and I'm glad I'm connected to doctors that listen to me, and I'm like, look, these opioids, they're upsetting my stomach. I'm on nausea medicine, this, that, and the third. I have a plethora. I look like a pharmacy up here. I'm just gonna show you what looks like my everyday, and this is just my everyday. This is just some of my everyday. You see these? See the tops? Just some of my everyday medicine that I have to take every single day, and I'm really trying to get away from all of it. Um, the blood pressure thing, it was so bad, and I had to actually have a nurse come by my home through home health twice, well, twice a week, then once a week, just to get my blood pressure, try to check it and keep it under control, because my blood pressure was a big thing, and it's one of the reasons after 30 years I couldn't get my spinal fusion, because literally the day of surgery, I drove all the way from one state to another to get it done. Um, Duke Hospital Spine Center was a blessing to me for over 20 years. Dr. Christopher Brown there took care of me for those years. And this man, he prayed with me and he talked with me, and he literally came to the waiting area and told me and my husband, look, I'm not comfortable with putting you on the table. Your blood pressure is so high, and I don't want you to be on there longer than you have to be, because I don't want you to bleed too much. And so I'm not going to do the surgery. Let's try to get some of the weight off, get the blood pressure down, and then we'll think about it. So I was so busy all these years trying to figure out ways to get the pain down or get the pain off, not even noticing that my blood pressure is getting worse, my weight's fluctuating up and down, and they ended up being a cloud over everything else I was literally trying to do, and it just put everything to a halt. So of course I was crushed. I cried all day that day because I had to leave that surgery center, and it was something I had been working towards. So um, everyday regimens, I'm on plethora of medication cocktails. I hate them. I admit some days I don't take my medicine, and my family doesn't like that, but they also try to understand that I'm fed up with all of it. Blood pressure, I use this blood pressure cuff, wrist cuff every day to check my meds, to check my blood pressure. And the only relief at this point, why I'm having the burst stimulator, I'm going to try this. Like I said, it's the last thing I'm going to try to do, is because the only relief after all of the other things that I've tried, the pool therapy, the physical therapy, the chiropractor, all the, just everything. Only thing that would really give me even 50% relief was if I let my husband punch me in my back, literally, or foot kick me in my back, literally, or I lay on a heating pad half of a day, or I use this little suitcase. It's called a TENS unit, and it's like it's an electric little electronic box to those who've never used it. Comes in the case. It has little electrode pads. It's a little box like this, and it has little controls on top. I'll open it so you can see. To turn it on or off, you put your lead wires, you plug it here, and you plug another one here. And the lead wires go to the electrode pads. The battery goes in here. You slide it, and all your little buttons are here for you to choose your megahertz and whatever frequency you want it on, however high, low. If you want it pulsating, fast or slow, you control how the electrodes um, send the signals through to the pain to block it. And this has absolutely been the best band-aid of my life for the last 30 years. I would cry when I couldn't find one. I actually just moved back uh, to North Carolina from Virginia, and my doctor just got me this one. Um, Sometimes this is hard to take off, but you slide it down, and then there's the battery at the bottom. Okay, so this is the one that really helps me move around as long as I'm wearing it. I can move around a little bit. I can stand on my feet more than an hour without crying or bursting into tears. I can even go to the grocery store or to the mall and walk around a little bit without having to sit down every couple of seconds. And when it takes this type of pain, nobody can understand it. It cripples you and it takes your livelihood away. It changes your spirit. You want to do things. I've got 11 grandkids. I would love to take to Disney World. I'm still planning on it, but I can't chase them. They're from 1 year old to 18, and I tell you, I want to do things with them, and it's hard to plan things when every time they come over, Nana's not feeling well. I don't want them to remember me that way. But these are the electrode pads that you stick. They come with a little. That's that's how it looks on the back, and they stick to this, and they last a really long time. You just peel off two of them, and you connect them to. These are the lead wires. There's one. Excuse me. I'm a little exhausted because I just came from that MRI and that long visit there, and the table was so hard and it hurt, but you can't move, and they put you in that machine and just stick you in that donut machine, and the noise was excruciating. So now I come home. I didn't go there with a migraine, but now I have a migraine, so it's about time for me to lay down and get some rest. But if you can see, one's red and one's black, and you just stick them in those holes that I showed you earlier on top of the TENS unit. And this was like one of my best band-aids ever. But the one that my doctor talked to me about, I don't have to worry about the battery running out so fast, and I don't have to move it around, you know, clip it to my clothes and all of that stuff. This one is inserted, and I said I wasn't going to get cut anymore, but I love me, and I'm tired of. I'll try something at least once, especially if it's going to give me some relief. So, with the insurance and everything, you have to go through what they call a trial. It's called the. I'm sorry. The procedure I'm getting, and it's called a burst stimulation. It's called a burst stimulator by St. Jude Medical Center. And I want to show you a little. They give you a book so you can read all this stuff about, what it is, and everything that it does and the people that it's helped. Um, and I don't know if you can see this diagram, but you can look up on YouTube, and you can see where they implanted here in your buttock area, and the two leads go up in the empty space beside your spinal cord on both sides, I think, and then they connect the lead wires to the box, and they also sew this just underneath your skin, like a little pocket. And a lot of people, I've been looking at videos, they saying it keeps you sore and whatever, but some people are saying it's worth the little discomfort to know that it's there. It's not very thick, it's kind of thin, and they do have more than one model. This model, I was trying to find a picture. Here's a picture of it. This is the model that I'm thinking about getting. Um, and I'm telling you, this is just like I'm at the last draw. If this does not work, and they do this, like I say, one of the neurostimulation is that you try it for the temporary system they give you for 3 to 5 days. My doctor told me he's not going to do it for 7 days because in 5 days I should know if it's helping me or not. Okay, they give you that, the little test drive, and then if that works, then they schedule you for um, the more permanent unit, and that stays in for a couple of years actually. Um, and like I said, they have two types of stimulation, and the outer control box will be taped or adjacent to your outer chest area, um, and they'll program it and everything. You don't have to do much touching to it. Um, I still have to go through. I've had my MRIs done. I still have to go through a psychological test because they want to make sure that you're able to, what you're doing, and what the procedure is about, and no one's pressuring you to do it, and all that stuff. So once that's done, they go ahead and give you an appointment, and I will be back with you guys to let you know. Um, Once he looks at my MRIs, if I'm going to get this done. Um, it's called the Burst DR stimulation system, and I'm hoping that it works because this is the absolute last time that I'm going to do anything for my pain. I mean, there's nothing I can do from the mid part to the upper. I've got the scoliosis and the arthritis, and all that stuff is like clumped up in that top half area of my back. And then the lower is where I've got all the cracked disc and some pinched nerve stuff going on. I've had neuropathy. I couldn't feel my legs from my navel down for 3 months. And this happened to me while my husband was having chemo. He would go to chemo, and I spent almost 3 months in the hospital. After chemo, he would come to my hospital room, and me and my husband, we wore that hospital out so much. They knew our names, they knew us, and they were like, "Well, if he wants to spend the night here, if he don't want to go home," I said, "Well, if he needs oxygen or anything out of my room," they say, "just let us know," you know. And it was just one of those things. And I asked him, I said, "Honey, why don't you go home and lay down and lay in the bed, comfortable bed?" He said, "Well, you're not there, so why would I want to be there?" That was one of the most sincere things my husband had said to me the whole time he had been sick with the cancer, and I appreciated that. Um, and now I've been blessed with a second husband. I have a certified executive chef, my Jamaican shorty. He's wonderful. He helped me through so much, and he helps me through this pain. And you have no idea, nights that I tumble, and I think I'm gonna wake him up because I'm not sleeping. He wakes up and I'm sitting on the side of the bed, and it's just I know some of you can relate to those. A lot of nights like that, you just cannot get comfortable. You don't know which way to turn. You buy all types of pillows, to hoping that it gives you relief. There's just a lot of times there's no relief. And I've got these pamphlets as well. One is for a lumbar radio frequency ablation, and one is for a thoracic medical branch block. And what it is basically one's a test and one's a burn. So for the buttock, hip, back, and groin pain, they gave me these two pamphlets, but I don't know if either of them are going to be relevant to what I've got to do. But I am now in process of speaking um, with Dr. Matthew Schreiber. Schreiber and Dr. McNeese at Carolina Pain Management. And hopefully, I will have some new news for you guys when I talk back to you again. I think I'm supposed to go back in March to see what's going to happen. And maybe they will call me in sooner. If they call me in Feb, I will just get back up with you guys and let you know um, when the test trial will be inserted and how I'm feeling and all. And like I said, a lot of my injuries came from when I was little, and as I got older, it got worse. And in between the children and the car wrecks and all this stuff, and then genetic stuff being thrown on top of you, just when you're in your life prime. Like I said, a lot of things, you have to make lifetime decisions. You have to make them as best you can. But like I said, a lot of times you can't explain pain like this to anyone that hasn't gone through it. But this is for you guys that are going through pain like me, severe back pain, and you're trying to find some relief. And actually, I'm glad all this technology is out here and that it's been getting better over the years, because my mother, she has pins in her back and she's had 2 back surgeries, and she's still going through a lot of pain. She's had a couple of falls, um, and she's still, but the techniques that I'm looking at, I'm really trying not to go through what my mom went through as far as those longer, severe type, wide open back surgeries. I'm just not trying to go through that. I did run across another technique that's just come over into America from overseas. It's not available in every state right now. I think it's only available in Virginia and maybe one other state, but they're trying within the next 12 months to open more clinics. Excuse me. And it's a technique, and it's some type of, I don't know if it's called Kamar or something like that. Anyway, I'm gonna look it up again. I'm gonna give you guys a link to it. Um, but it's something that you don't have to have surgery for, and it's supposed to give you long time relief. There's a like a big monitor machine, and I know there looks like there's electrodes involved with it, but anything that you don't have to get cut for, I do recommend try to use it. Just try it at least once, okay? A warm pool therapy, it wasn't bad. It kept my limbs, loose, and I was able to move a little better without the pain and the pressure of my back. I was able to move a little better in the water. So I do suggest pool therapy instead of the land therapy. A lot of times that's more strenuous on you until you can get some relief. Um, I love you guys. I know I don't know you, but anybody that's going through this type of pain, any type of pain with your body, and it interrupts your life like this, I commend you. I commend your courage. I commend your strength. Peace and blessings to you. And hopefully, I'll be talking to you again soon. And hopefully, whatever I'm trying will be a blessing or be an example for someone else who's trying to make this same decision about their life, to try to have whatever life we got left to be a little bit more productive and a little bit more comfortable. Okay? God bless. Bye bye.